Now try it. Can you hear us now? We'll try this again. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Thursday Faith Livestream. We are still in our Divine Encounters Botswana series, and hopefully you can hear us now.
Testing.
Test, test.
Anyone?
Check, check. Anybody? Okay. Oh. Okay.
G'day.
What's up,
G'day.
Jason?
Jason.
Aren't you supposed to be in service right now?
Ooh.
He slept in.
Maybe at the bathroom.
So, anyways, back to what I was saying while I was muted. We have Pastor Mallory back on with me. Becca and Clemmy are here this morning to share about their experiences and encounters in Africa. Then this afternoon we have Sean and Michael Terry at 2 p.m. Then next week we have Hector and Victoria at 10 a.m. and Jeff and Kay Zuniga at 2 p.m. next Thursday. And we're still trying to squeeze some of the others in. I know Jose and Rosa will come once their internship starts. Some of the others are a little harder to get both, especially couples, get both of them here. I know that's... Good morning, Jeffrey. That's the hard part with Joel and Samara. Who else? Has everyone else come on now?
I think.
That'll be everyone, right? Trying to think. Yeah, so it'll be just Jose, Rosa, and Joel and Samara. So, all right. I assume that's Jay Bowers.
Yeah.
Good morning, Mr. Bowers. All right. So we'll kind of do what we've done with everyone, and kind of start with, before we get into ministry stuff, just get into how you felt about the culture differences between obviously here and there. I know a lot of people have said about coming back. Coming back was hard. And I know, Clement, you and I have talked about this, that initially you're excited to get home, but then when you get home, you're like, oh, I'm home. So kind of talk us through a little bit of that. Talk us through different languages, different foods, the campsites, any of the towns, any of that kind of stuff, and we'll just kind of see where it goes. So whichever one wants to jump in first.
Do you want to start?
Yeah, sure. I'll just start with Africa is huge. I don't remember if it was during service or in conversation. You were talking about the population of just Botswana is 2 million?
2 million.
Yeah. So 2 million, and then compared to just DFW,
Yeah.
which is 8.4 million?
Let me look. But it's something
it's
crazy.
much bigger than 2 million. But also the land is so vast. And that's just one country out of the whole continent of Africa. So there's a lot. Most of the trip, I would say,
8.1 to 8.2 million.
Yeah.
So yeah, four
Because-
times.
Yeah, and that was one thing I didn't really take into account before going. Was I knew Africa was big because we see it on the map that it's very big, but you go there and it's very big. Everything kind of
Morning, Jazz.
kind of big and also like move slower. Like
Yeah, talk
the
about
animals,
that. Talk
the
talk
animals,
about the
okay,
pace
so
of life.
I was talking to Victoria about this, because like like in documentaries you see, like like will show the animals, and I thought they were all in slow motion. The animals just walk like that, like this.
Especially the elephants, right?
Yes, the elephants, but they have like some kind of like grace to them. It's really cool. But even the people I noticed, they walk slow. And then, everywhere you go, it's just a bit slower compared to how it is here in America. The service, it can be good service. They're very hospitable, so I can
Yeah.
give them credit where that's due. But
Might wait 3 hours.
you might, yeah, just take into account you may be there half the day if you don't like plan ahead. So that was kind of a bit of a culture shock to me.
But that only caused frustration once.
Yeah,
There was only once.
And honestly, it wasn't even that big of a deal in the end. Just because, like, yeah, we were tired and it was frustrating at the time, but like that's just how it is over there.
Adjusting to a different way of life.
Yeah.
Because this is normal here. We're used to pulling up at a window. I need this, and it's done. But it's fake food.
And I think that,
Yeah.
to bring up that one moment of frustration, it was towards the end of the trip, and everyone had gotten accustomed to the pace of life, and really the only thing that threw us off that time was like our credit card machine system is down, and we were just in a new country, so no one had the currency, and so it was like, okay, well, we have no way to pay. Like either get it on or we have no way to pay, and they weren't trying to find a solution.
No,
It was just kind of like, we'll see what happens.
yeah.
And we're like, well, we have somewhere to be. Yeah, we have somewhere to be in an hour and a half. So that was really the only frustration as
Yeah.
far as the pace. But I mean, yeah.
But I think with the pace, because everything moves much slower there, that's why people were so, like, even if they, like, weren't super invested in what you had to say to them when it comes to soul winning, they were still willing to be like pull up chairs and have this conversation with you, even with a language barrier.
Yeah.
Which was just kind of, I was stunned to see that like happen everywhere we went, not just in Botswana, but
Yeah.
in Namibia and Zambia.
They just want to be with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just relational.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They want to
exactly.
hear your story, know about you.
Yeah. I thought technical difficulties
that.
here. Use
That one.
So what was the
You got it.
question?
Just talk about different culture things, differences.
Being in Africa, maybe something about the campsites, the food, the people.
I mean, really, the only thing that comes to mind right now, it was the pace. I know Clemmy just talked about that, but that really kind of blew my mind. And because everyone wasn't in a rush, coming home was a little bit hard because everything moves so fast. And like, I know we're not supposed to talk about ministry, but ministering there, like, you have time, and here people don't really want to give you their time. So it's just like there was an adjustment of having to come back from there when everyone was like, just moving peacefully and at their own pace. But yeah, that's all I can think of. I'm sorry.
What about the food and the towns and stuff? Because I know a lot of other people have had comments on towns and just how different they were. And
So I know, like, because we did a lot of traveling, we would go through more, like, I would say kind of modern towns, in the sense, like, they have, like, shopping centers.
so give some perspectives to that. Because when you say kind of modern town, it'd be like one small strip of the town is modern.
Yes. Yeah, it's like a blip of the whole whatever radius of that town or area, and you're just we're just passing through it to get to like our next destination.
I wouldn't say it's modern. I say it's civilization. It's
Yeah.
there was people and buildings. It wasn't huts and
Exactly.
trees.
there was pavement.
Yeah, there was pavement.
There was
Yeah.
toilets,
So-
indoor toilets.
So yeah, you would pass like, and y'all jump in and give your perspective on this stuff because I want to hear from everyone. But you would be driving like either on a dirt gravel road or a paved road that had a ton of potholes in it, and then all of a sudden you get into a small section to where all of a sudden there's a bunch of houses. And when I say houses, I'm not talking like what we think of houses. I don't even know how to describe them.
One room, walls were mud.
Steel roof.
was thatch.
or no, in towns they would be the tin, the steel, the metal roofs. But then once you get into town, it's like they're saying, like one small block of a mall, which is a strip center with a grocery store, a couple other stores.
Chicken restaurant.
Yeah, a chicken restaurant. And it would be nice in that one section. But then as soon as you pulled out of that one section, it would be Africa.
I think one of the things that I still think about and like I noticed was their car washes. So like their car wash, it was basically, I don't know if it was like wood, plywood or something, and then like a tin roof, and that was it. And then it's literally on like dirt with sand everywhere. So it's amazing that, you know, you're washing a car and it's probably going to be dusty
As you
like
back out.
immediately. But it was just like literally one of the places we went. But we passed a lot, and it's just like two guys standing out with like a bucket and a few supplies, and that's just how they make their living. And I think about that a lot because we have these like extravagant car washes here, and I'm like, man. But yeah.
Well, and a lot of businesses were like that too, where it was just like the outline of like the hut, and then people with whatever they're trying to sell or provide for business, and that was it.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't inside. There was no bathroom, which I'm not sure what they did for that, but like, you know, and then like of course you had like the people who worked inside the strip.
Yeah.
I guess, so to speak.
So now talk about food and talk about some of the campsites and stuff, and just like traveling along the road and what that kind of looked like.
There's a lot of chips. Like they had so many different. So like we have a lot of chips in America, but like they have a lot of chips too. But
And
their
interesting
flavors,
flavors.
yeah, and very fun, interesting flavors. Like there was one chip we tried. There's like a balsamic vinegar
Oh my
chip,
gosh,
and
that
it's
was the
actually
best.
so
It
good.
was so good.
Actually, I don't think I had like one chip that was bad.
Yeah.
You know.
One of my the thing is, they were all my favorites, I think. But one that I really, really miss, their version of the Lay's barbecue chips tastes like smoked brisket. Like it has that real like brisket taste, and it's kind of disappointing not having that again. But
I mean, like
oh, no.
everyone. Oh no, I'm assuming the same way we make ours, just not without as many deadly chemicals. But I mean, I think on the road, that's what we ate a lot. Was like chips, cookies, or biscuits,
Chocolate.
whatever, chocolate. But like when we were at
Oh
camp,
yeah. Let's
What?
talk about this
I'm
2 in the morning episode. The chocolate reminded me about that. If you don't follow Clemmy, you posted it, right?
I did. It's on my
If you
it's
don't-
on my Instagram.
If you don't follow Clemmy on Instagram, after this you need to go find her and watch a video that I've only seen part of it. So I'll let you all get into it. But I guess the first night when everyone was
Oh, gosh.
frigid, that was the coldest night we had.
Yeah. it
But
was rough.
apparently I didn't even hear him. Did you hear him?
Oh yeah, we were next to y'all.
Yeah.
We were trying to be quiet.
Yeah,
weren't
y'all weren't
trying to
loud at
wake
all.
everyone up.
But apparently
All snoring.
they were so
Yeah.
cold that first night, and we ended up giving them an extra sleeping bag. But they were so cold that they just woke up and were filming a documentary about snacks. So I'll let y'all take it and talk about it.
Yeah.
then.
So how?
So
You go first. You go first.
we both were obviously having a hard time sleeping. It's our first night sleeping in a camp, and when we get there, there's like monkeys fighting, falling out of trees, and like I guess
Oh,
people
so
were hearing
loud.
cats. Like we didn't know what to expect. At least personally, animal wise, I didn't know what was gonna be just roaming around. So at night, I'm like, I'm not gonna get up or go to the bathroom at all. I'm just gonna hold it, and I hear Clemmy unzipping the tent, and I'm like, don't go out there by yourself, and thinking that in my head.
It's
So
like 1 a.m. by the way. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, let me wake up Becca. Come to the bathroom with me, please.
well, I ended up waking up, and I hear her, and I'm like just nervous. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go out there because I didn't want her to be alone, and we're freezing. So she's out there kind of hanging out by the bathrooms, and we both decided like we can't go back to sleep because we didn't pack warm enough, and literally all the layers we had on didn't do anything.
There's just a bunch of cold layers.
So we go back to our tent, and we're like, okay, so I guess we can eat our snacks. And then Clemmy is like a genius. She's like, let's record like a vlog or something.
We were like, well, you know, because like we always see on like Instagram of people like, here's my grocery haul. It's like this was like our grocery haul, but with like African snacks that we had found at the store.
Your gas station haul.
Yeah,
it was our first day of African snacks, so we were like,
we're kind of excited.
pretty excited. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think just I was already looking forward to eating them. So I was like, whatever, this is the best because, like, we're going to sit here, we're going to eat our snacks. We can't sleep. What else are we going to do? Just sit here and look at each other?
Yeah.
So I did film us with our gas station, African gas station snack haul. It's on my Instagram. My Instagram handle is at CJBowers_ if you want to go watch it. But it's just a little bit of it. But yeah, we were just having fun. And we figured I wanted to send something to like Jason.
Yeah.
While he was going crazy
I
here
wish
by
we would have
himself.
documented your face when you came out of the tent the next day.
Oh god.
She did not look thrilled
I wasn't.
to be there.
We didn't sleep like at all. I remember I had like sat up in my tent at one point because I just couldn't sleep laying down. So I kind of leaned against the tent itself, and I felt something like brush me, and I was just like getting like trying. I was like half asleep trying to like process what that was. And I was like, either that was a like sleeping pill hallucination, or that was an animal. I don't know. Either one could be the answer, but I think it was. I think you said it was like a bush bug, probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
Because there was one there that next morning that was very skittish when we were awake.
Yeah.
All right, so since we're talking about that, just go ahead and talk. Like, so that was the first night at Quano King.
Mhm.
Well, I guess that would have technically been the second night because the first night was at the hotel. Then the second night was at Quano King. Then we went from there to the Rhino Sanctuary. So to start talking about the different campsites and just kind of like what y'all were talking about just now, like the different experience of, like most people don't think Africa's cold. And whenever I told y'all, like whenever we were preparing for this, I was like, hey guys, it's going to be winter. It's going to be cold at night, but it's going to be hot during the day. And I don't think, even though we talked about it multiple times, I'm not sure if most people were prepared for how cold and how warm, like the drastic temperature change. So talk about all that.
It was hard to pack for that because like it's cold and it's hot during the day.
Yeah.
So trying to choose what to bring and then also not pack too much was hard. But like the different campsites, I thought was like, I loved how different all of them were. I mean, it was the same, you know, trees, sand, animals, but like
some you were next to people, and then some you were secluded, like in the middle
yes,
of nowhere. Those were my favorite.
Some it was just us, and then some, I think like the one at Tebe was that where it was like packed. There's so many campers there, and what I really loved just about Africa in general was how they let the animals roam. Like there's no fences keeping animals in.
Right.
They just have free reign to go wherever, which, you know, was a little infuriating at times because, you know, monkeys were getting in your food or elephants were crossing or goats were crossing the road while you're trying to get to your next point. But like that was one thing I just absolutely loved about the actual camping experience. Was
this y'all's first time camping?
Yeah.
No.
Both of y'all? No, not
me.
you.
Yeah.
for her, yes, which is crazy because it's like, yeah, I went to Africa and
It was
camped. That's
full
my only
throttle.
experience. But yeah, no, I loved. Oh, and like how different. I guess like how well kept some of them were compared to others. So like there was a few like Drotsky's, Tebe, and the very last one we went to. Waterfront. Those were my top three, my favorite ones. I thought those were the most beautiful. I think Drotsky's was probably the top of the list. When it came to just natural beauty, there was so much to look at. Like you could just go on a walk every single day to find something new.
Yeah.
Is that where the guy got hurt? Drotsky?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so our first night, like, camping, it was, I don't think there was nearly as much sand as, like, the rest of the trip.
Really grassy.
So I never anticipated so much sand in my life. Never been to Africa, I've seen videos and pictures, and, like, this might sound dumb, but when we were driving, like, just traveling to get to where we were, like, there would be a lot of areas where it's just nature. Like, maybe a human here and there walking, but there's not like shops or stores or buildings or anything like that. It's just purely
Yeah.
nature. And I was like, oh my gosh, it looks just like the documentaries. Like, it just kind of like, that
real.
sounds
It's
dumb, but you know, I
real.
never experienced it. And
That's so real.
seeing it in front of my eyes, I was like, it was just so beautiful and cool. But our first campsite was like kind of like grassy, and it was a little bit like wet and freezing. Second night, still freezing, but that was at Camarino, right?
Yes.
Yeah, there was a ton of sand. So like even just driving into the campsite, like we're in a tank of a safari truck. Like this thing is, I think it was like a couple tons.
It
Yeah,
was-
no,
it was
it
like-
was massive.
It's
It was
on
like
one of the
2
pictures.
tons.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tried to show a picture. And so everyone, like 22 people are sitting on the top level. Underneath us on that like safari truck, it's like storage for all of
the
our bags, our sleeping mats, tents, cooking utensils.
Kitchen stuff, yeah.
Yeah. And so we're like driving through this really bumpy, sandy area, and our driver Matt, he prepares us. He says, "Hey, like it's gonna get really rough, so just like hold on," because he has to go fast to not get stuck in the sand or like have the wheels spinning. So we're just like goo 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 goo. We tried to get like videos of it because it was
So
like
bad.
it was gnarly. Well,
No, there's a picture of one of the campsites with the bus. Y'all need to see how this like unit of a bus.
it was
that
impressive.
It was. Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
there you can see it in the background.
it was nuts. I have never seen one so tall in my life, and it hauled all of us except them and then Paul and Patricia.
Yeah.
But and it held everything. It was at our tents, mats, cooking utensils, any other type of those chairs.
Yeah, the camp
It held
chairs.
everything in there, which was
Yeah.
crazy.
It had a freezer in it that worked sometimes.
Oh yeah, I forgot about. Ooh, I
That.
forgot about that.
The meat got rot.
Oh, so bad.
Bad in it, and the
No,
smell
it
came
was
from
so
that.
bad. Like I went in one morning because I left the vault in there to get like camera gear and stuff. So I go in one morning, and I hope this doesn't sound. I'm not trying to call him out, but Loki. So like Pastor L was in there, and it smelled so bad. And I was like, thinking in my head, I was like, Pastor L, what did you eat, bro? Like, God, do we need to like lay hands on you or something? And so I left, and then come to find out the meat had gone
is
rotten,
that?
and it was not Pastor Lucejo. So I'm so glad it wasn't, because I was genuinely concerned. I was like, do I need to tell someone like you're like dealing with this? And I don't know. But one more thing, like I wanted to bring up, I haven't heard anyone else bring up with each campsite, was the stars. Every night, especially at Drotsky's I think was the best view because it was so open. There wasn't as many trees. Like you could go to the Okavanga and like look, and it was just like, it was like the Lord had like spilled a bottle of glitter on the sky, and that's what it looked like. And it was so like surreal. I just like, there was a point when we stepped out and like that first step and that first look, I couldn't say anything. Just because I actually had my breath taken.
Yeah,
away.
you can literally see, like in some of the pictures, people took greens and purples
Yeah.
and blues of the gases of the
Oh my
stars.
gosh.
We should have
Yes.
shared one of those
Yeah.
pictures.
It'll be shown.
All right, so now start talking about ministry, which you can start along the road, because I mean, y'all started hammering ministry out even in South Africa before we crossed the border. Like people were already speaking with people at garages and anywhere we'd stop, and then we get into the border and get in. Well, that border we didn't really do much. We went straight into the campsite by the time it started getting dark and stuff. But
Yeah.
go ahead and talk about the road first, and then we'll get into the 3 major points of ministry.
So my first recollection of our first ministry as a group, I remember it was like at one of the stores we went to, and we were actually we had come back. We're all waiting outside the bus. I think we were waiting on a few people to come back.
I remember that one.
And
yeah,
that guy had come up and actually asked Sean for a picture. I guess because she was wearing this hot pink shirt. She's a white lady. I mean, anyways. But what I wanted to point out was, I don't know if y'all heard it because y'all were kind of further back, but we were all standing there, and we asked him if he wanted prayer, and he said yes. And so we all go to lay our hands on him, and no one said anything for the first minute, because I think we were just like, who's gonna go, who's gonna start it? Finally, Pastor Carl started, and I just remember,
Hey,
and
Paul
then
and Patricia.
that. Hi, I love y'all. but like compare that time and then throughout the rest of the trip, like we very much changed. I think it was just like what
That
do
was
we
that
do?
moment that kind of like the hesitation, and then after that, it just kind of
Yeah.
like exploded.
And then after that,
So who
It
ended
was-
up praying?
Pastor
Carl.
Carl.
Okay.
She ended up praying over him, and we just all kind of prayed together with him. I was like, why did we not say anything? Like, who's gonna start? But that was like one of the first things. And then I like even before the trip, I was like, Lord, I don't know what I'm gonna do, because I never felt like I was like super bold when it came to soul winning. But I think when Pastor L spoke to us that one day and just talked about the simplicity of the gospel, and like, well, yeah, the script is there as a guide, but you know, they're not gonna.
Don't be a robot.
Yeah, don't be a robot. Like, be like a human and
Yeah.
try and talk to them like a
Yeah.
human. But do you want to talk about that one girl that you ministered to first?
Okay, are you talking about the one in Chicago?
Yeah, but there's actually one instance before that at the gas station.
Yeah, go for it.
Remember that? So I don't know. It was like a travel day, and this was after a few people had already started ministering. So we would like stop, and then like either Paul or Pastor Sean would like say, "Hey, you're up. Like, go talk to this person," and that started just kind of breaking like the walls down that I know I had some, because I was a little like nervous. Not extremely confident, but we ended up going to a gas station in Botswana, actually, and like almost the whole team got off the safari truck, and we just started talking to everyone that was there. And I think Clemmy was recording people, but me and Samara had went into the gas station, and there was 2 girls and a young man, and she started talking to them and witnessing to them. And people were still coming in and like shopping, so they stepped away from the register, and there was one girl who was there, and I was like, I wanted to wait for her because I wanted to be able to talk to her also. So whenever she was done checking people out, she came over to the side, and I just started telling her about the Lord and asked if I could pray for her. And she had told me she had already had a relationship with the Lord, so we just kind of prayed for her and blessed her and asked her what she needed. And then we were leaving, or getting ready to go back on the safari truck, and like a few moments later, I had like went to the bathroom and came back, and one of the girls in the gas station was outside by the truck with a group of our team taking pictures. So another guy from the gas station was like taking her picture with our team, and then Clemmy comes, and she's like taking pictures of her also. She was just so excited. And she was telling us that it's not usual or common, and that it's pretty rare for people to like just come up and say, hey, can I pray for you? So it really like lit them up. Like, it made their day, and you could just see it on their faces, which that was just really special, because I mean, how many people ask you, can I pray for you? And just hearing her say that like really set the tone. I was like, oh my gosh. We need to ask everybody.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's not every day you have someone interested in seeing your soul saved.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's kind of like a big thing, even here. I think I'm trying to think in order.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember all.
So, I
That
mean,
happened.
if maybe that'll help you, but it's like, so, let's see, we traveled from Kama to Mound, and that's when we were in Audi camp, and that's whenever, like, our first full days of ministry actually started. Like,
Yeah.
and I think sometimes people that weren't on the trip don't understand that. Like, every day was a full day of ministry, even a travel day, because if the bus stopped, if the vehicle stopped, you were out ministering, whether it was in a shopping center, whether it was on the side of the road, whether it was in a village, whether it was at a school. It didn't matter wherever the bus stopped.
Yeah.
You know, Paul, myself, Pastor Lisejo, Pastor Jerry, we're gonna make sure y'all were ministering. And not it wasn't even in a pushy way, like y'all said. Like, it was that first day that was kind of like a little nudge, and after that, it was like as soon as the bus stopped, half the team was like, okay, who's where. So then once we get into Mound is where we did that first full day. We had some of the team at that business center, some of the team at the clinic, some of the team up in the villages. So y'all talk about that day. And and go from there.
Well, for me,
And
that
Paul and
thing-
Patricia, y'all can
Yeah.
type stuff in as well.
y'all were there. I mean, for me, at first, like, it was nerve-wracking because, you know, the day is set just to go and minister, so you had no other way of getting out of it. Like, you had to just go and do it. And thankfully, to my surprise, personally, was just like, I didn't realize how, like I said before, how open people were just listening to you. Even with a language barrier. So I think each group had like at least one person who could maybe translate if they spoke the same language. Also, didn't know there was like so many different languages that we were going to have to encounter. Yeah, like I think it was the second house that we had gone to. I was with Pastor Lucejo's group, and we stopped at this man's house. And I think he may have already been a believer or something. I'm not sure, but he seemed to like know what we were talking about. And so we prayed with him, and like towards actually Michael was the one who led him. And he did great, by the way. So if you're listening to this, Michael, you did awesome. But like towards the end of it, we're about to leave, and I just like hear something from the Lord telling it was like that. Asked the man if he's a businessman, and we ended up leaving. I got scared, and I was like, well, I don't want to like interrupt, you know, just like we're about to leave. Pastor Lucejo's on a mission, so we're just going to follow him. So we left. I didn't say anything to him, and I was kind of feeling like a little sad about it because I'm like, I feel like I should have said something, but I didn't say it. Well, thankfully, like later on, after a few more like people, after we ministered to them, this same guy is walking down the road.
Oh, wow.
He's just walking down the road, like with nothing, just walking, and
So I
we
was like, "Here's
stop
another
him.
opportunity."
Yeah, we stop him, and I pull Pastor Lucejo aside, and I was like, hey, ask him if he's a businessman. And so Pastor Lucejo stopped him. He's like, how are you doing? We're just wondering if you have a business that you're in. And the guy said he was a tent maker. Like,
Oh,
he
wow.
had a small business of making tents. And so the Lord told me to tell him that he's going to expand his business. And like,
Y'all just
his
click on
face-
Restream Chat. Go back and
Yeah.
click on Restream Chat.
Sorry, having some technical
There
difficulties
you go.
in
All right,
the
sorry,
studio.
Clemmy. Go ahead. Tent maker.
Yeah. So we, I told him that the Lord was going to expand his business, and his face just like just shot up, and he was just praising the Lord because he had been praying for it.
Wow.
And so I was like, after that, I was like, okay, next, who's the next person? I
encouraged
can
you.
do it now. We can do this. So that was my first, like, I felt like my launching.
And I think a lot of people have commented on that, well, first of all, I think it makes people a lot more open when you realize I don't have to be so direct. I can be relational and form relationship with
Yeah.
them, and then they'll hear me.
Yeah.
But then also, this setting allowed a lot of y'all to actually be used in the gifts and the callings that you
Yeah.
feel called to, and realize, hey, I don't have to have a pulpit. I don't have to have a mic in my hand
Right.
to work and operate in my callings and giftings.
Yeah.
So kind of talk about that element, because I know there's been a lot of comments, and a lot of the comments to me from people that didn't go on the trip were like, wow, I can see a difference in the people when I just hear their stories and different things, and they want more people to go on the trips. So kind of just talk about being able to, like you said, just listen to the Holy Spirit and do what he's telling you to do.
Well, that's something we had actually talked about way before the trip. Sorry. Oh, I love it. That was something that Becca and I had been talking about because we've been wanting to be like better soul winners and be able to do it just wherever we go, like not just on Saturday with the church, just like wherever. And one of my things was like, I feel like a robot with the script, even though the script is great. I love like the scripture references, the prayers, like the structure of it. I do like, but like trying to go off of it for me, And just that was hard because I'm trying to like develop a relationship with people and actually be able to like keep in contact with them. And so this trip was like an answered prayer. I think I could say for the both of us because we were wanting to be able to do that and have that experience to just talk to people and like learn about them and then lead them to the Lord. And one thing I wish we could have done more was like been able to keep in contact, but obviously I knew that wasn't going to be. We talked to so many people, that would have been really hard to do. But what do you have to say about it, Beckers?
Yeah, so like I learned soul winning with the script, and it helped me get started. And then Pastor Lisejo encouraged us, don't stick to it, but use it as a guide.
Yeah.
And I had been desiring, me and Clemmy both been desiring to just meet people where they're at. And I was pretty shy before, still overcoming a part of that. And so when we were soul winning, it's just like, once you start preaching Jesus, just saying the name Jesus, the Holy Spirit, he tells you what to say. Like, sometimes I would give my testimony, sometimes I wouldn't. Sometimes I would just, like, I would see a kid or a family, and you talk about the family of God. Like, the Holy Spirit will lead you once you open your mouth and, like, set your heart to tell them about Jesus, which was really cool because, like, the script is great, but if I feel robotic, like, trying to tell people in order this and that, and it was just really amazing to see all of us, and me personally knowing, like, overcoming that part of, like, that blockade I felt like I had when it came to soul winning. And I feel like this trip really, like, took that wall down and just helped me meet people where they're at and kind of just gauge with the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, and I think people have to understand, like, the soul winning script is a great tool, but it's just that, it's a tool. And for different jobs, you use different tools.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go use a adjustable wrench when I need a socket. You know what I'm saying? Or different, or a screwdriver, right? I'm not going to use a hammer when I need a screwdriver, which is probably a better illustration than the other one. But and we were in a meeting with Jose and Rosa last night about this exact thing. Is like there are different settings for different tools. Like it, and you have to realize. Like I personally, I mean, you got to understand the soul winning script has won millions to the Lord all over the world. I have personally used it to win thousands to the Lord, but I've also used other methods to win the same amount or more, much more, people to the Lord. So and I think that was fun to watch y'all as well, adjusting to different situations, and y'all can segue this into Mahimbo if you want, but to see the different types of ministry on this trip was probably 10 to 15 different types of ministry when you talk about from supermarkets to gas stations, to the side of the road, to towns, to a place like Mahimbo that's about as, like when you read the four corners of the world into like the highways and the hedges, this is the hedges. This is the four corners of the world. Like most people don't even know places like this exist. And then just being able to adapt and listen to the Holy Spirit for each different situation and each different circumstance. So before we get, I know you specifically want to share about that one girl, so let's segue there, and that can transition into Mahimbo. So if you've watched all of these, one of the funny stories that we ended up giving Paul such a hard time for was originally when Paul and I were planning this trip, he was like, hey, there's this tiny village right here, and on the way out, we can go spend a full day there and minister. And I said, great, sounds good. Like, we both had peace about it. There was no like, no. And then the day before, he's like, hey, Pastor Sean, we can actually go through this big town called Chicago, and there's a lot more opportunities there, yada, yada, yada. So we try to go to the chief's house. First of all, it took us a while to find the chief's house. We had to go to the police station, ask the police. They led us to the chief's house. And the chief didn't know that we had Pastor Lisejo with us that could actually speak and understand the language they were speaking. And the person that was trying to get us an appointment, which I don't think he really was, I think he was just going through the motions, now that we look back on it, was talking to the security guard at the chief's house and said basically, yeah, the chief's here, but he doesn't want to deal with anything today. So, but in the meantime, we were ministering, the team was ministering right around the immediate area. And that's where you met this girl. And I don't know if you want to throw out that picture of Becca and that girl, and then Becca, you can take over and tell the story about her.
So, she's so pretty. I don't remember her name, but immediately, like when we got off of the truck, we were allowed to like minister in that area while they were talking to the chief. Me and Clemmy like walk up to this girl, and she's the first person I saw, so we're just like going for it. And I just stop her and like ask if we can talk to her for a second, and she understands English well. She doesn't speak it or she didn't speak it a whole lot, but she could understand what I was saying. So I just start telling her or asking her if we could pray for her, and she was open to it. So did you pray for her, or I can't remember.
I think I may have prayed for her, and then I went and did something else. Oh, I was like trying to film.
So I think Clemmy like prayed for her, and then I started asking her about her family. I was like, do you have a family? Because I mean, you don't know where people are at in life. So I was like, do you have a family? Do you have parents? And she was like, yeah. And I was asking her, do you have a good relationship with them? And she said, yeah. And so I just started telling her about the Father, like how God has a family and that he loves her, and that he sent Jesus for her. And so I could see her countenance changing. Like she just started to get glued where she was as she heard about Jesus, and she could feel the Holy Spirit. And she accepted Christ, and then I prayed over her again specifically. And then I just wanted to talk to her, and she told me before or after I prayed for her, she said, I don't want to go. Like, I want to be with you. And I knew it was because she felt the presence of God. And it was just like, oh my gosh. It just kind of like blew my mind. And I wanted to cry, but I was trying not to. But she was just so precious. And you could feel her soaking up that moment and like everything that was happening in that moment. And I was like, so where are you going? Or where are you coming from? And she said, I was going home. I came from school. And I was like, okay, well, yeah, you can hang out with us until we have to go. And I would love for you to. So she starts like holding my hand and like hugging me. And she didn't speak a whole lot of English. So we just kind of like hung out together for a while. But it was just really precious because she was just really pulling on the Lord, and it was just amazing to be able to be a part of that.
So from there, we went to Mahimbo, where if you tuned in last week with Chris and Allie, that was last week, right? Or the week before? Maybe, whichever week. You heard about Emmanuel. But then there was also this other girl. Do you have that other picture of the girl in the yellow dress? Yeah. Samara said the name a couple weeks ago. I can't remember her name. Catilda. So that's the small village, and you see that's their houses and stuff in the background. That's not their actual house. That's kind of what they would use to prepare food in and different things. But that's what their general property looks like. So y'all were kind of, I've told the story, but me, Paul, Pastor Lasejo went to meet with the chief, and these kids sought y'all out because y'all were all just stuck on the bus waiting for approval. And then these kids basically swarmed the whole team. So y'all go ahead and talk about the kids, talk about Mahimbo, and talk about also, talk about some of the people y'all prayed for specifically. Because I don't remember. There were so many testimonies. I don't specifically remember who prayed for like blind eyes and all these legs to grow out and all those different things. But if y'all prayed for any of those, mention those as well.
Well, I remember when we got off the truck, it was like a few kids, and like they just kept coming. That group of kids kept growing. And it's like we're eager to talk to them, but we're waiting for permission. And they're eager too, because they're just looking at us, smiling, laughing. I don't know what they're saying. It was just...
Malungu, that's what they're saying. That means white person.
Yeah, probably. And it was really funny. One of the kids had like a bow and arrow, and it had like a sharp tip, like it was a real one. And I was like kind of nervous for a minute. But once we did get permission to like talk with them, I know someone did mention like Rosa went up and like told them about a story and then led them to the Lord. And then a few minutes later, more kids are still coming. Like I don't know how they're finding out about us, but they're coming. And me, Clemmy, Ava, Victoria, we start like dancing and singing with them. and it was just really cool.
Yeah, well, some of it was funny with the dancing. So I'm trying to figure out all the VBS songs I've known from like VBS past, right? And memorize all the dance moves and stuff. And these kids don't speak English. So some of them are just trying to follow our
Yeah.
dances. Some of them are just like staring at us because they're like, these,
Hey, Miss
what did you
Donna.
say the word was?
Malungu.
Malungus are dancing. And, but it was so fun. Like, it just like, you know, they're just so excited to see you. And, gosh, I don't even know how many there were. There's a lot of them though. Like the picture that
There was
shown,
easily 40, 50, 60.
yeah, it was like the picture was just like a few of them for sure. But that was so much fun getting to just like hang out with the kids. And then Catilda, like her going and like translating for our group. I mean, I wasn't with that group who had her, but like just hearing about what happened with all of that is so cool because, and do you know how old Emmanuel was?
21.
Manuel was like 21,
21.
and Catilda was like 12. But yeah.
So like these like young adults and a child are
Yeah.
just going around evangelizing, spreading the gospel, whether they knew that was going to happen or not.
Right.
It was like incredible. And just like I said, I didn't know how many languages we were going to encounter coming to Africa.
And I think that was one of the biggest
Yeah.
shockers right there, because up until that point, at least Pastor Lasejo had been able to translate for us.
Right.
And then when we're at the chief's house, he looks at me at one point and goes, I love this word they use in South Africa, sho. He looks at me and goes, Pastor, sho. This is a deep, deep language. He's like, I'm struggling to keep up with it. He goes, a lot of the words are similar. And then we come to find out this small group of 800 people, which it obviously wasn't 800 when this happened, but they had moved down, this family group had moved down from the Caprivi Strip of Namibia and moved down into this part of Botswana. So that's why their language was different, and they had adapted their language to the local language. So it was this combination of languages, and that's why no one else could translate. And we ran into the 2 people in the whole village that could speak English. And that one slapped me upside the head of God's
Yeah.
provision. Like, people always think about finances,
Yeah.
but his provision of translators, otherwise we would not have been able to reach that whole village.
Yeah. It was awesome.
So my stories are a little bit out of order, but can I share one when we like pulled over on the side of the road?
Yeah, go for it.
So I know like Paul and Pastor Sean, they were just like listening to the Holy Spirit about like while we were traveling. So we would like randomly just pull over at the Holy Spirit's prompting on the side of the road, and like there's just, you know, people around, a few houses or huts. I don't really know what they're called. But we pulled over one time, and half the team's on this side. There's a bunch of kids, and then I think me, Clemmy, and a few other people, Ken and Pastor Jerry, we go to the other side of the street, and it's a group of like 6 people, mainly women and like 1 man. And I just like started talking to them, and Pastor Jerry, he was helping me translate for them. And I led them to the Lord, and then me and Clemmy and Victoria were asking Pastor Jerry to translate, like, is there anything specific you need prayer for? And so we start going one by one, finding out what they need. And one lady, she had a child that wasn't hers, and the child's mother passed away, and I don't know what happened to the father, but this woman just took on this baby. And she had no papers, no identity, and we just prayed for her, for the child and for the woman taking care of her, that God would provide everything that she needs, and that she would grow up with the identity of Christ. And it was just really special because one by one, like once we started praying for her, the other women and even the guy, like they started wanting what was happening. Even in ministering, like soul winning, Pastor Lasejo, thank God for him. I got to work with him a lot, so I got to see how his boldness, how he was bold and interacted with people. And so I took a little bit of notes from him, and when it came time to like lead them to the Lord, no one was saying anything. And then Pastor Jerry would ask, do you want this? Like, because consent, right? They have to want it. But so I was like, okay, then one person started praying, and then 2 people start praying. I was like, no, everyone. We all have to, like, you have to use your mouth. So we sit there for like 5 minutes trying to get everyone in one accord, and then they all pray and accept Jesus. But then there was another instance, like, of one of the ladies there who she comes up a little bit later, and we needed Pastor Jerry and then one of the other young men, 2 translators, just to talk to her. So she had like pain in her back and in her knee. Me, Clemmy, and Victoria lay hands on her and pray for her. And we're like asking her, is the pain gone? Like, how do you feel now? And it took us a few minutes to get a response because like the multiple translators. And then finally Pastor Jerry's like, he's just done trying to go with translation. He grabs her by the hand, starts walking her.
There's a video of that.
Yeah, we got a video of it. He starts walking her, and then at first it's like a little walk, then it gets faster, and then they start kind of like, not sprinting, but like moving. Yeah, and you can see her face from like just stone cold to like light up, because she couldn't tell us the pain was gone, but she could feel it when she started moving, and it was just like, just this moment of rejoicing, and like, so cool. It was really, really cool.
Well, I think one thing that was also like cool about that, like you were saying earlier, Becca, how you were so shy. So like go from like shy Becca to like just not wanting to like, you know, step on any toes to like Becca's like, you all are going to say this prayer. Like we stood there. I remember we stood there and we waited, and they were like kind of like twiddling their thumbs at first, but like we stood there and we waited for all of them to say it. Like she compelled them, and so that was like really cool to watch too.
I was like, your eternity is at hand.
Yeah, like this is a real thing that we're trying to do. But yeah, that was really cool to see. I don't remember the order after that. I don't know.
So after that, we kind of went up into the Caprivi Strip so the best way for me to describe it for people that have never looked at a map of Botswana is Namibia is shaped like this and Botswana is shaped like this, right? And you have kind of where my ring is you have the Okavango Delta. And up top is a little finger of Namibia, which if you have never studied the history of the Caprivi Strip, you should. It's pretty funny. But in order to get to the other side, because we were on this side of the Okavango, and you have to go up here to get to the other side. And so we had to go up into Namibia just to get all the way around the other side of the Okavango. And that's when we were in Kasane at Tebe. And that's where, like, I think everyone at this point, and y'all jump in here, everyone at that point was like, okay, we got this. Now we're going to hit it hard. And that was I've told the story that was one of the last days I was like, all right, guys, this is our last full day of ministry. Yes. Y'all go out and hammer it, hit it hard, and we're going to go try to get you guys appointments into schools and different things. And that was the day some of y'all came back, and Clemmy, I look over and Clemmy's like,
no color in her face. She looks like a ghost.
No, listen. So like that morning, I remember. It was the next morning. But that morning, we were like at devotional, and I just I had a lot of anxiety that morning, and I just couldn't figure out why. And so right before we leave, and I remember reading the devotional, and like one of the reflection parts said to like ask the Lord to give you a word for people, to give you, the tools you need. And so it was just a nice, gentle reminder. And so I did. And I was like, Lord, I don't know what's happening.
Elaborate on that a little bit, because whenever, like those of us on the team understand what you're talking about when you say devotional. So kind of give perspective of what the day looked like and why the devotionals were important and why the nighttime testimonies were important and that kind of stuff.
So we would wake up, breakfast team would have breakfast out. You would grab, your cereal, your oatmeal. You go to your seat, and Pastor Carl made these amazing folders with like daily devotionals in them. And they're just like short little things. It was like a scripture, the prompt, and then like a reflection, and then something else. But you would go and you'd sit and like look at this devotional and actually just like sit with it, like kind of let it, what's that?
Well, marinate?
Yes.
So we made this devotional, and Pastor Carl helped me put it together. But I came up, the Lord literally, I don't even know how long ago it was whenever we started designing shirts and different things, but the Lord told me, preach, teach, demonstrate. Mm-hmm. That was to be the theme of this trip. And it was the theme for the shirts. It was the theme for the devotional. I made sure like scriptures went along with it. Mm-hmm. Pastor Carl helped fill in the gaps and stuff. And that was kind of the theme of pushing y'all out to make sure y'all were preaching, teaching, and demonstrating. And every devotion was geared towards that. So carry on.
So, reading the devotional, and then usually someone led the devotional, and then I think you would say like what we were going to do for the day, and then we'd head out. Well, that day, we're literally about to get on the bus, and I'm just like riddled with anxiety and couldn't figure out why, because we had literally been ministering so much up until that point. And so that day, I just really felt like, I was like, it's just you, Lord. Like, just use me as a vessel. I'm not going to put my own emotions into it because then it wouldn't be good. So anyways, we get to, they break us into our groups. We start walking, and the first house we encounter in my group, I end up being the one to teach, to like talk to this lady. And I'm still really nervous, but it was like the Holy Spirit just really just showed up. And I remember at one point I was talking to this lady. Oh man, I wish I uploaded the picture. But I was talking to this lady, and I kind of felt like I ran out of words to say. And so I was looking at Victoria and Samara. I'm like, help me. Like, and they're just like, so I'm like, thanks, Lord, help me. Yeah, so thanks, guys. But I actually ended up getting to talk with her more. She had like this kind of like lump. I'm not sure what it was. It looked like it. She said she was born with it. And like it was something that her mom had and her grandma had and stuff. So we prayed over that. And then Samara stepped in and kind of shared, because I asked her what else the lady needed prayer for. And so the lady was saying something about her legs, like they were hurting. And I noticed that both of her ankles, she had the little green yarn string around them. And so I asked her, I was like, what is this? Like, what is this for? And so she was saying and I hope I word this right, but like she was saying that it's there for protection. She was afraid of being cursed, like her feet being cursed. And so I told her, I was like, well, now that you have, Jesus in your heart, you have this relationship with him. He's your protector. You don't need these green strings anymore. There's no point for them. And it took a little like convincing for her. Samara had stepped in and talked to her and shared some of her testimony, which was super powerful. And then the lady decided she wanted them gone, but she wanted to cut them off herself, which was even cooler.
Yeah.
In the past, we were cutting them off for people, but she wanted to cut them off herself. So she cuts them off. I pray over her legs and her joints, feet, everything. And I remember when I prayed, I said, she will walk, she will run, she will march. And then I said she'll dance. And I hadn't said dance to anyone else before then, but like it just kind of came out of my mouth. And so we finished praying for her. We walk away. And then Paul, the guy who was translating for us, I think it may have been her son or something, he actually caught up to the guys we were with and told them, hey, she's dancing in her house right now.
Wow.
And it was just so cool. I was like, oh, I hope we get to go back and like see her. I want to go hug her one more time. We didn't get to, but I was so glad that Paul had come back and told us that. And she just had a freedom about her. There was it was really taking off this veil of darkness. You could see it on most people. Once you just preach Jesus, once they encountered him and just finally grasped the truth of what he can do, that Paul's landlord. Okay, cool. She was Paul's landlord. Oh, okay. I see. That I couldn't understand what that was saying. But anyways, yeah, so that was really cool. That was my highlight for the day. There was a lot more, but
well, I'll be really quick. That night before this day, Pastor Sean was saying how he wanted to get more schools. And so I was like, yeah, let's get more schools. So I was like, Lord, give us more schools in Jesus' name, amen. The next day, so we're all split up in teams going through this different roads on this village. And my team, I think I was still with Pastor Lisejo. And we're just going door to door and meeting meeting people on the streets, and we hear this beautiful sound of children singing, and it's like not far, so we just walk right over, and it was like, I don't know how many, maybe 35 little kids, and they were singing the Lord's Prayer. And over there, it was common for people to go to church, but not have a relationship with Jesus. So a lot of people go to church, but they don't have that personal relationship in revelation in them. So we walk over there, and Jose and Rosa did their thing. They got to preach to the kids. But it was just really cool because, like, immediately, first thing, like, in that morning, we get to go open to a school. It was just like the Lord did that, and it was just really beautiful because it was such an open door, and there was no hesitation, super welcoming, and then the few staff that were there also got saved. And this day was really cool. Like, I felt like I got to connect with a few ladies. I saw one young woman sweeping, and I just go up to her and I said, hey, can I pray with you? I'm out here and we're just praying for people today. And she was like, yeah, let me go get my sisters. And so she goes and grabs her 2 sisters, and they're all pretty young, and they bring chairs out. And I'm like, that was the first time anyone brought chairs out for me. And I was like, I didn't sit because I just like I felt kind of weird. But so I just started telling them like about the Lord, and I shared a little bit of my testimony because I felt like I needed to, about how like broken I was and how the Lord healed my heart and like set me free from things. And then I just asked them, what do y'all need prayer for? Like, do you want something specific, or do you need God to move in your life? And 2 of the girls were like, no, but the initial girl that I met, her name was Blessing, which was really cool. She was like, yeah, it's kind of private. So I take her to the side, and she tells me like she's having trouble, I guess like in her reproductive organs. So, and she has a lot of pain and problems. So I just like laid my hand on her, and I was like, hey, the same God that you just encountered, like Jesus will heal you, and he'll make everything right. Like he wants you to prosper and your body to prosper. And so she was just like so ready, and I just laid my hand on her and prayed and fully believing, and she was just really excited because I said, hey, do you want to have kids? She was like, yes, I want to have kids. So I actually got her number, so we get to talk a little bit back and forth, and that was just really sweet because I felt like I made a friend, and I think she felt the same way. And I had one more story if there's time, but okay. So one more instance was another young woman on the same village. She was walking away from a home, and I went up to her and I was like, hey, can I talk to you for like 2 minutes? And she was like, no, I gotta go. Like, she was in a rush. The first person I met there that was in a rush. And I was like, it'll be really quick. Like, I just want to talk to you for 2 minutes. And then she was like kind of fighting it. And all I can think is like her eternity is at hand. If she could give me like 2 minutes, she'll understand why I'm like, I want to talk to her. Mm-hmm. And it was really amazing because she ended up giving me her time. And I said, hey, is there anyone else in this home that you just came from? She was like, yeah. So she goes and gets them. I tell them about Jesus, and they accepted Jesus, 3 women. And then she also wanted prayer privately. So I go to the side with her, and she just tells me, you could see in her face, like, just this ache and this pain in her heart that she's been carrying. And she told me that her mom gave her up when she was a baby, and she never knew her. And so it just really broke her heart because she felt unloved and not cared for. But when she heard the gospel, like, from one moment, she doesn't want to give me her time. She doesn't want to hear what I have to say. And then literally within minutes, she doesn't want me to leave because she feels the presence of the Lord. And she had an encounter with God and got healing in her heart. Like, you could see the countenance on her face change. And then you can feel when people are pulling on you and, like, they want your presence. And it was really hard to leave. But those stood out to me so much because I felt like we really connected.
And I think that's something that's hard for some people to understand that have never been, on a mission trip or never led anyone to the Lord, is the fruit, the eternal fruit. And just not only in the people you're leading to the Lord, because we had the opportunity to lead over 3,600 people to the Lord, and which we'll get into that day that morning at the school where the 2 of you combined between students and staff led over 600 people to the Lord in 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever it was. But also, so quickly talk about that, but talk about the lasting fruit, because I've had multiple people come up to me. I mean, when I say multiple, a lot of people come to me and say, just talking to the people, and this is, I encourage you guys, because we won't have time to tell you everything. So go talk to the team members that went and ask them their stories and actually pay attention and listen, because there's so much lifelong fruit that, yes, we got to minister to people. Yes, we led a bunch of people to the Lord, but also in us as team members, the fruit that's in us, to the point where, the people, when y'all are coming back, I have people coming up to me and like just amazed and overwhelmed by the fruit they're seeing in you guys. So just kind of, again, like maybe 1.5, 2 minutes each, because I know we're already over time, but.
You want to go first?
You go first.
Okay. We were actually just talking about this yesterday. That's crazy. Well, and sorry, I got lost. I'll start here. So yesterday, it was actually during service. After worship, I was gonna go grab my camera, and I got stopped by Jackie, the security guard, who she does security over at the Connect Center and stuff. I don't know if y'all know her.
The police officer?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's like, sorry, the police officer. But I had kind of started talking to her before the trip, and like, she saw me, and I said hello, and she's like, did you do something like different? I was like, well, my hair changed. Like, I did get my hair done. She's like, I don't know, there's like this kind of like a maturity about you. And I was like, that's very interesting you said that, because like, I felt like, we were just talking last night, like how much this trip really just changed me. It not only ministered to the 3,000 people we got to minister to, but it really ministered to me, and just like God, and it was like what Pastor Harvey was saying last night, like the Holy Spirit will cut through any boundaries, like everything. And there were so many things that was trying to keep me from going on this trip. Like, I remember, like, in the beginning of the year, I'd come to your office, I'm like, I can't go on this trip. Like, I'm too far gone, essentially. And it was just a lie straight from the pit of hell. But, and I could see why the devil was trying to stop, because of the fruit that happened with this trip. And now, like, there's like a whole new eternal perspective that I have. Like, I kept hearing Pastor Ryan say, people are destined and waiting to be unlocked. People are, and like, that's a great thing. Like, that's a great phrase. Yeah. But like, I don't think I had a full revelation of that until this trip. Because it's like, we're only going to see these people once. Yeah. We're not going to be able to see them again unless, somehow we do. But like, we don't know if we will. And this is the only time we can take this time to minister to people. And so now, like, every single person I see, I just want to do everything I can to make sure that conversation is opened up. Like, I went and got a tattoo last weekend, and I was ministering to the tattoo artist, like, because where are we gonna go? We're sitting here. Right. We're gonna
right.
Captive audience.
Yes, and so it was so cool. I wish I could say more words on it, but yeah. That's just,
but like I said, go and ask them, because I mean, there's a lot more they can share. So don't just limit it to this.
Yeah.
20 minutes they get to speak during this 1 hour.
I know we went to go make a difference and to help these people have an encounter with the Lord. So we went to give, but I don't want to cry. What's so beautiful about the Lord is, like, when you minister, it's coming back to you. So when you pour out, it's coming right back to you. Like, you're being refreshed. You could be so tired. You could have gone in the heat all day, not had enough water, not really eaten. You could feel all the things, but the moment you start opening your mouth and you start telling people about Jesus, it's like instant refreshing, rejuvenation. You're energized. And I feel like I changed so much personally because we went to give, but I feel like I got so much.
Yeah.
Like, how is that fair?
Yeah.
But my expectation before, I think we filmed a video, I said, I expect to come back with boldness, with more compassion, and just like, and a greater appreciation for missions, because I've never done missions. To me, it's just like, it's a figment of my imagination. I can give to it, but to be on the ground is a whole different story. And I feel like I don't know what it did to me yet, but it completely did change me for the rest of my life. And I also had one person tell me, there's like a glow about you. And they were joking. They're like, it's like an Africa glow, I guess. And it wasn't a tan they were talking about, but it's just, I can feel it, but I can't fully explain it, you know? It's just, it was 2 weeks of encounters. I think that's what she said last night. 2 weeks. From the moment we left, like, it just...
It was like one long encounter
Yeah.
for both of us. Like, I feel like everyone on the trip could probably say the same
100%.
thing.
100%. And that's why I've always been a big, and we'll start wrapping up with this. I've been a big advocate ever since I moved back to the States. Like, everyone that's a Christian should go on at least one mission trip in their entire life. Just do it. Figure out. Now this trip wasn't for everyone. I think we could all say that. Not everyone. And when people hear Africa, oh, I want to go. Okay, well, get the realization of what the trip entails first.
Right.
Yeah.
But there is a trip for everyone. Whether it's to Mexico, whether it's to Honduras, whether it's to Colombia, whether it's to Asia, whatever it is. But everyone should do one mission trip in their life. And I think these guys and the rest of the team are big advocates of that, and you should go talk to them and ask them why. What do you see that has changed you? And some of it they may be able to put into words, and others they may not be able to put into words and just say you need to go on one. But everyone should do that. So if that's something you want to do, you can always talk to Elders Ken and Barbara about mission trips, and I encourage everyone to go on. Last thing, in closing, it is Pastor Andrea's birthday. So if you can message her, email her. There's a post on the church page. You can post on there.
Bless her.
Yeah, bless her. You can give on the envelopes. You can give online and just put Pastor Andrea. You can check the lead pastor. You can give on the app. But you can be a blessing to our lead pastor, who is such a blessing to us. Honor her, not just with words, but with financial things as well. And just let her know how much we love and appreciate her. So other than that, I will see you back at 2 p.m. I'm sure these guys will be working behind the scenes at 2 p.m. Yeah. So they will kind of be in the studio as well. But we love you. Thank you so much for being a part of this. And we will see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.